Hey, welcome back to the channel. I think it's time we kick off this door project. Mechanically, we're pretty much done. Oil leaks are solved. Everything seems good electrically. We got all the things working the way we want them to work. We got new tires. We got working brakes. So cosmetics is kind of it. And this door is obviously the biggest problem with cosmetics. The previous owner allowed the door to open all the way and then flex. He caught it on a tree or something, he said, when he was backing up, and he flexed the door all the way around, destroyed the door, damaged the fender. And the fender is not, it's not a lost cause from that accident, but if you look in here, golly, that's a lot of plastic. So somebody has been in here before, and this thing is wadded up all the way down with plastic. This crack here corresponds to a giant wad back here of Bondo. And then up here, I think I showed this a couple other times. This is all plastic. You can see like the really bad edge in there, where they just folded the plastic over and didn't even do a good job blending it. So I was fortunate enough to get an NOS fender with the car. It's over here. I haven't done anything with it yet. It's, still in the wrapping. It's old, but it's going to be perfectly good for this because it has no plastic on it. And I have a green door, which you can kind of see sitting out there. So I'm going to start filming just a teardown. I mean, I don't know how boring this is going to be. It might be really cool when we get into it and see what the inside of the door looks like. You always hear me talking about Volkswagens. Just like a Volkswagen, we got the Phillips head screws that hold this thing on. This one's kind of loose, and they're boogered, which tells me people have tried to get at this door before. I've got some tricks from my Volkswagen experience to get these off, but before we do that, I want to strip off this actually awesome door panel and try to be as careful as I can with everything, because this is one of the things that makes this car really cool, is that it's got the original interior in such good shape. So I'll set up, and we'll start taking this apart and see where we get. Cool. Okay, so I think this is going to be a good enough view here. What does it look like? Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm just going to start by taking off the stuff that I know how to take off. Obviously this one's pretty straightforward here. It's just a screw. Yeah, that comes off nice. We'll put that over here, and then these are probably going to have Phillips heads in them somewhere. I've got the bus door open. Do this little exterior, and do this inside. I'd like to switch the position of these cars so that I could put move the bus around, get a little bit more room, so I could do this door and the fender without it being right next to me. But it's pouring rain out today, and I don't want to put the bus out there in that. So we're gonna make do with the door open on the bus. There comes this. Again, looks pretty straightforward. Interesting angle. These are like ramped. Not sure why they're like that. Usually with these things, you'll have you open it up and there'll be like a screw or something in here. This has none of that. I don't know how this goes on. What I do have is one of these trim tools. Recommend anybody to get one of these if you don't have one. As you can see, it just kind of you can stick it in and then you can use it to pop clips. They tend to scratch up the door, so if this was a door that we were keeping, I'd probably be more careful, but in this case, I'm way more concerned about the door panel itself than I am about the actual door. Yeah, see, there's just regular clips in regular positions around the door. So you push it in, you squeeze the trigger, give it a little bit of pressure, and it should, in theory, pop things off nice. You don't break anything. Try to get it right around the clips that I can see. Usually you can feel them. I feel like there's one right here. Looks like there's one right here. And so forth. Just working my way around the door. Bring this in a little bit so you can get a look inside here. It's a little bit waffly at the bottom, which is to be expected considering the age, but I need to be a little bit careful down here working on this because it could be soft too. There's no way to know really for sure. Alright, we're ending the clips, but we are still stuck with this. So I was kind of hoping that it would become maybe this was in the door or maybe somehow otherwise attached. I just don't see any screws or anything that would hold it. Maybe this trim that's on here. Try to see if that trim moves off. Yep, it moves up. Okay, so that comes off. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that there was one of these on the bottom too. Almost assuredly, in fact, that allows the whole door panel to just pop off. So that's pretty easy. Door panel's in great shape. You can see the water damage that these invariably get on the back here. It's a little waffled. Options are I could wet it and put something heavy on it, put it back on. That could work. Probably not going to do all that just because it goes on and it looks okay. Now, I'm going to go get the other door because we've got some folks living in here. Woo-wee. That's kind of gross. I'm going to get the other door so we can see how much of this mechanism and everything is on that door already. If I don't have to swap glass and swap mechanisms and stuff, number one, that will save us a ton of time. The other thing I'll point out while we have this door is I just showed you the damage on the door panel. The reason that's there is because nobody replaced this seal. There should be a seal, just like I have one here, just like there's one covering that hole there. There should have been one here as well. All the damage on the door panel that you see, there's water damage right here and there's water damage right here because water goes down a door. It's not normal, it happens. Even if these wipers and scrapers were brand new, which these are certainly not, that still happens. And there's drains in the bottom of the door. The expectation is water is going to get in there and drain out. So they put a vapor barrier here to keep the moisture as it's in there and evaporating and draining from destroying the cardboard. People almost never replace them. It looks like there was one here, here, here. Again with the color, guys. Like, is this the right color or is it this? And I don't think there's any... I guess that, yeah, I'm going to say it must have been this color here originally, just because why would this be the color under the tape? When they pulled this tape off, this was the color that was there, and they obviously had the door panel off when they shot the door. They shot all the rubber as well with this color yellow. So yeah, it's not the same color yellow that they went back with and put back on. It's this canary yellow as opposed to this, I'm not even sure. Obviously, we're staying with what we've got. I don't mind this color. I certainly am not into this car enough to change it. But let me look at the other door and let's see what we have on that door, and then I'll come back and bring you guys back in. Okay, so good news, bad news with the door. Well, obviously it's green, but it's not damaged. There's no Bondo in this door. I've already kind of checked it. There's a little whammy down here, just more scratch than it is dent. The trim buttons are in good shape. I do have the trim. This rubber is actually in really nice shape on this one, as opposed to the one we have. And we have a door handle and we have a button. What we don't have, though, is any of the inside. Let me flip this around. So we are going to have to move and migrate all of that stuff. So yeah, you can see we still have the latches that the rods connect to. So we have this stuff, and that's actually really loose. So we have that. We have the window crank itself mechanism. We have the glass. So good news, regulator is in. These regulators, hey, check this out. I thought this was going to be mouse nest in the other door, but it's actually in this door too. That just seems like a terrible idea to hold water, folks. I don't know why that shit's in there or stuff's in there, but yuck. Anyway, yeah, we will actually go through and probably put this door on, because I feel like having the door on and hung will make it easier to attach all this stuff. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do, is we're going to pull the door off so that, yeah, we'll pull the door off. Yeah, you see this rubber is shot. We'll pull this door off so that we can get a good swing at mounting the other door, and that'll let us then transfer over these mechanisms here, because honestly, I think it's just going to be this bit, and then probably this striker, depending on the condition of the other one. This one's in really good shape. Yeah, so let me go get some tools. These are less than fun, everybody, when these are on like this. It is very much difficult to get them off. They're torqued on really strong. Somebody's already been at this one. I've got one of those manual impacts that does the, you hit it with a hammer and it impacts for these things. I've had really good luck with that. I've also got one that'll sit on the drill with the impact gun, but you gotta be committed, because when you pull that trigger, if it strips it, you're drilling it out and now you're in trouble. So let me go get some tools here and I'll bring you back and we'll see what we can get undone. All right, so obviously big old screwdriver. I could kind of tell this one had already been messed with, so I'm really not surprised this one's coming out. I'll probably try to get, yeah, these are fine thread. The Volkswagen ones are a lot like this. They're not as long. So we'll get these out. I usually try to leave one in the top, one in the bottom before I pull it. We actually have to get this off too. This is the striker latch. Not the striker latch. This is the check rod, so you can't, in theory, you can't open the door too far and destroy yourself, and it'll actually stop it from slamming on you. Clearly, it doesn't stop the door from opening too far, or it doesn't anymore. Let me go grab some tools. We got to pull those pins, but before I do that, let me just get these loose, or try to get these loose. I mean, there's no chance that I'm going to be able to do these. Oh, okay, that one I was able to do by hand. I can tell you that on a Beetle or Gia, that does not happen. Those things are put in such a way that they're never coming out. Let me see if we get lucky down here. Yeah, no on that one. No on that one. Let's see if this one's loose up here. No, okay. So before we go whacking at it, I'm going to go grab some vice grips. You probably couldn't tell the handle of this already has vice grip marks in it, because put some vice grips on there will give you some leverage to torque it around, and that's the screwdriver I use for this. But 1 second and I will be right back. All right, so we will set up the vice grips. I am definitely a fan of taking care of your tools. This screwdriver is actually purpose-built for this. This is why I have this screwdriver still. This is what it does. So don't feel bad for the old Craftsman. All right, there's that one. So I'm going to leave that one in because it's holding the whole door on up top. See what we get down low. I was able to turn that one out. And that one turns. Make it 3 for 3. Okay, yeah. So they're all loose now. Didn't need the impact tool. Didn't need any of that stuff, which is awesome. Something else that can happen with these sometimes is, especially because these are long, they go through into the A-pillar, and that's not protected always, and they can get rust on the back of them. So you break them loose, and you think you're good, and then it's a struggle turning them out. And you can see they're a little rusty, but not bad. Not bad at all. So we are going to pull these out. That's going to leave us with one screw in both. I'm going to pop the bottom one off, which is going to pivot it down, and then we'll take the top one off. But first, let's get this little piece of didn't really help us when it needed to help us thing out of the way. Or at least it didn't help the door when it needed to help the door. Looks like a cotter pin. I don't like I can just get it. I'd like. I don't know how the cotter pin is in here. Okay, just getting this thing out. It's going. It's thinking about it. Let's get the slightly bigger pliers on it. Yeah, I can't really see the back to see how, like, whether these pieces of the cotter pin are together or not. It's getting closer, though. There we go. Cotter pin gotten. It got, as the kids say. Let's pop the pin out. Not sure the best tool for that. It's going to need a little more than that. Give the door a little bit of a wiggle so it takes the pressure off of it. Okay, there's that. And we'll check the other door to see if this is in there. It's here, but it feels like it went through some things. Actually, I think I'm going to just be able to pull it right out of the door through this hole. Doesn't look cratered. Still has the rubber on it. But yeah, not really sure. I haven't seen the inner workings on one of these cars yet. But we will. So, like I said, first we're going to take the bottom one off, and you can see the door sort of pivot in. The real fun with this actually begins trying to hang the other door, because this is where the door adjustment comes from. It's pretty terrible. So I'm going to hook my arm on it to take pressure off of it and just turn this out. I mean, we got really lucky here that these are just all unscrewing and they're coming off nice and everybody looks real happy. I know I am, because I'm not struggling with this. And that's the door. She is free. Put the Bondo bucket down over here. All right, and then I'm going to take a little bit of time and clean this stuff up. Like I said, this is supposed to be black. It just screams that it's been repainted. So let me clean a little bit up in here, and then I'll bring you guys back and we're going to rehang the door. I am just looking real quick. We're going to pull the fender too. I want to make sure there's nothing screw or nut or bolt wise in here that would be easier with the door not on, but there isn't. It looks like there's a bolt that comes through here for the inner piece of this fender, and I don't know how the outer piece goes on. That's just going to be a different adventure. The reason I'm not taking the fender off now and trying to do this all at once is because this fender is actually in really good alignment. The body gaps are really good, so I can use this fender to set the body gap for the door, and then when I put the other one back on, I'll sort of know I'm in more or less the right place for it. There is a little bit of Bondo up in here that I'll crack out. I want to be on the original metal. Wow, this Bondo is thick, folks. You can hear the difference. Yeah, I want to be on actual body line metal, not simulated body line for the lineup. So let me pause this. I'm going to go get the door, and I will be right back. Back again. So reinstallation is reverse, but now I'm going to have to hang that door by hanging onto it and try to force these bolts in. You know, it's a bit of a challenge. I'm going to just use my arm like I did to take it off. Hope I can get it high enough. Get it in here past the stinking bus. Then we're just going to bring it out, put a screw in hole, and then bring it in. Yeah, the plate moved to where I don't know. Looks like down and over. Yeah. Getting the plate to stay somewhere where you can get a bolt on, not always so easy. So I got that on. Now I just got to get one into the bottom. But I can take the pressure off of my poor shoulder to do that. Same idea. You know, we got to make sure that the screw plate is in a spot where we can actually get on it. And it is not again. A little harder now that we don't have the same access like we did for the top. But usually you can get something in low and slide the whole thing over. It works. Yeah, it's gotta be. I'm gonna need a different tool. 1 second. I'm gonna go grab a pointy thing. Okay, pointy thing obtained. Just an awl. I'm just gonna shove this in one of the lower holes so that I can bring it over and make it stay there for a moment whilst I attack it with this. Something else goes without saying, don't cross thread these. These are fine thread. It would be an absolute nightmare. I'm going to try to use the whole, like the pattern from the other door on this hinge plate to see if we get close on being able to open and close the door. Unfortunately, at this point, it becomes a game of trial and error of, put screws in, make sure everything works, and close the door. And, oh, it didn't. Okay, start over again, redo. That's sort of how it's just going to go for this. It's how every door goes. I mean, it's not like this one's any different than more modern cars, just different. Where did I put that all? Put it in here, and now I need it back. Wow, you ever feel like you're losing your mind? All right, let me pause the video and find the stupid tool I just had in my hand. Okay, not my fault. It fell out on the ground. So, that plate has to come up a little. There we go. Getting them started is the hardest part, because it starts to pivot on the screw that you put in. So you got to get it like perfectly lined up, and man, like I said, don't ever cross thread them. It's a struggle. If that happens, you'll be in bad shape. Let me see about the bottom plate now. Wow, I don't know where the hole is at all. There it is. That was completely shifted over. So we're just getting them in loose-ish for now. I am going to tighten up one of them. Not this one, because this one's not that easy to get to. I'm going to tighten up one of them so that we can play with the door's alignment. But before I do that, we need a latch that actually works. So I'm going to pull you guys out so we can check out and maybe swap over the latch mechanism if we need to. That way we're working with stuff that we know works. So hold on one second so I can move the camera. All right, so you can see what I can see. It's loose. That doesn't mean that it's bad, but a lot of times there's adjustments in these. And I don't know if let me talk somewhere you can hear me. I don't know if like sometimes with cars, like you can just move the striker plate here, like the switch here, or you can move the striker plate for adjustment. Based on this car, I'm going to say we're moving the striker plate on the car. So I'm just going to tighten this up. Not sure why it was undone in the first place. We might find that maybe you need to undo it for the rods. I don't know. But I do know that I want to see if it will open from the outside without too much drama. So let's assume that let me get the bigger screwdriver. Let's simulate that we have triggered it. Come on. Okay, so that would be locked or like latched. If I push this in, does it unlatch? It does. Okay, so that works. Let's try just to close and see what we get. Okay, we got a big nothing because it looks like the striker plate is not lined up right. Our gap over here actually looks okay. I'm not too mad about that. It's a little tighter at the bottom than it is at the top. Down low, down here, it looks like we had a pretty even gap all the way across the bottom of the door. So let's see if we can get the striker plate fixed. So what we're dealing with here is this guy. More spider eggs, man. This thing was hatching something. Gee whiz, everywhere. So it looked to me like this striker here is going to work, but it's either hitting on this post or this plate's just out of adjustment. So I think we need to really figure out which of those things it is before we go messing around with it. And if I'm watching it come in, and I don't know if you guys can see in there. No, I don't think you can. Maybe if I go this way. All right, so let's move the light. So I'm just trying to line up in there to see why it won't do a thing. And it ain't going. So it's getting in there at the latch, but I think it's too high. I think it needs to go lower because it's not catching this in a spot that's allowing it to grab. Let's see. It's also possible this striker's just junk, but I don't think so. Oh, the button didn't actually pop back. I didn't notice, but this didn't come back out. So, functions of sitting outdoors for a million years starting to show itself. That button is in there. I don't know if you guys can see. This is the button that we're pushing right here. Man, it is stuck. I wonder if it's... all of this stuff is okay. I don't know what that just did, if that locked something or unlocked something. So that might be the open it from the inside hatch, and this one might be the lock. I guess I could look on the other door instead of trying to guess my way through this. But right now what I'm seeing is a door latch mechanism here that's not springing back from the previous position. Yikes. I think we're just going to replace all this stuff with the one from the other car that works, guys. Like this, there's no reason to struggle with this. We have all different stuff, and the chrome on the other one is in way better shape. So I think we're going to just take this apart. Let's just abandon the thing that's been sitting outside that we're not sure of if it works or not. Unfortunately, that means I got to crank this window back up to get it all this stuff easier. That's not going to be fun, just because it hasn't been greased, and it's gonna struggle. Is that down? Yeah. Yeah, this is very stiff. So while we're not going to go through the effort of replacing all this, we are going to have, an episode dedicated to greasing this that I will probably never film because I don't think you want to watch it. I don't think I want to do it, let alone watch it. All right, so we got that up. That'll give us access to all the fun shenanigans that lurk within here. Looks like to take it apart, it just looks like this pin down here has to come off, and then we got to loosen this whole mechanism up. But this does sort of explain why this was half on, half off. It's clearly somebody was going to do this same thing with it. Probably not just in the greatest shape. Could also just need to be taken off and cleaned up, but I don't need to do that because I have a perfectly good one waiting on the other door for us. So we are just going to take the shortcut of saying goodbye to this. I don't know how that's on in there. Yeah. Like, I don't know how this is connected. Like, what kind of clip it is. I don't want to break it. I don't think there's a way to... Oh, you know what? I could probably just take it off from up here. Yeah, if I pull this clip, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing in here. If I pull this clip off, I should be able to drop the whole mechanism out the bottom. And that clip is just kind of hanging out. Easy to get at, begging to be the one that comes off. Get a couple of edges to grab at and get a tool in here to finish it off, because I do not want to drop it, which I feel like is going to happen anyway, folks. I do indeed feel like I'm going to drop this. Not the end of the world. I mean, I'll get it. Oh, check it out. Look what's in the door. We have another one. That's good to know. I really should have taken the leaves and stuff out of this door before I hung it, but I'm going to clean it. It's easier for me to work at this height, so that's why I've been doing it. All right, let's just finish getting this off. If we drop it, we drop it. All right, it's off. And I did not drop it. I'm like a hero. All right, now we should be able to pull this lever off of here and then slide this whole fun thing out. So that button, by the way, is still, it's still not back out. So yeah, I think this button is part of the problem. Certainly, yeah, certainly not cool. But the button itself is also really easy to get at. It's kind of just, this clip here holds that button on. So we are going to get a screwdriver in there and pull that down and out, or down and off. I really want to look at that. There we go. Load and stick my fingers in the bottom of this door, but there we are. All right, now this should come out. And there it is. Still stuck in. I have no doubt in my mind this is just dirty. A little disappointing to see all this plastic in here because, I mean, geez, this is a wear item, right? But we'll get the one out of the other door that isn't stuck and swap it over. The other thing is the handle itself on the other door. The outer handle is in much nicer chrome condition. This is way better on the other door. Usually they're a screw. It's like a Phillips or something in the door here and then a latch over here and it kind of pivots in. I don't know on this door. We're going to find out together. Stick my hand up in here and there is in fact a screw. So what kind of screw? Phillips head. It's almost always a Phillips head. I don't know why. Even on the German cars, it's always a Phillips head. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film this removal or that you need to see the Phillips head screw coming out. If that's some kind of payoff and I'm taking it away, I do apologize. I think the window might have to go up just a hair more to make this easier. Okay. And I don't know if I can get on this with Mr. Stumpy here. I think not Mr. Stumpy will be better. I did bring one, so we may as well use it. All right. So we're going to unscrew this. Kudos to Austin. I've not hit a fastener yet. It's been tragic. All right, so it is loose out there now. However, it isn't just popping off. Oh, look, there's another Phillips. Okay. So it is a 2 Phillips operation. There we go again, another one that undoes. Thank you, Austin. I feel like the MG people watching are probably like, that's not fair. At least that's my experience with my MGs. This is way too easy. Okay, so we got the mechanism off. With that off, let's give the door a quick close. And I like everything about this, guys. I like that door gap a lot. I don't feel like we're crooked. We may end up, after we get the new fender on, find that this is a little bit wonky and we may have to adjust it. But it's really difficult with these types of hinges. What I'm looking for here is, am I out far enough? Like back here, we definitely go in, we line up good. Over here, I might stand to come out a little bit, but again, it's really hard to tell because there's so much body filler on here. Like where the fender actually is, I'm actually lined up good. So we may have to do more with the hinge adjustments after we get the fender on. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this. I'm going to clean this door. You don't want to see that anyway. I'm going to shred the stuff off the other door to bring over here, and I'll bring you guys back when it's just latch reassembly, just in case someone has one of these and they want to get into doing this. They'll know what's in the door and maybe the parts they're missing. So I will be back in a bit. Back we are. So I just cleaned up the door a little bit. Been using this vinyl tape. This is pretty inexpensive stuff from Amazon. I'm going to use that to seal up the holes as we go. Can't seal them up yet, but that one I can because I'm about to put the latch on. So this way we can go through. I'll show you the basic constituent parts that I took off the other door and getting them back on. You know, this is literally like installation is reverse of normal, or however they say it in the manuals. We're going to put the latch here. First, we're going to put the stuff through from the back, like we have the handle and all that stuff. I will say this, like I'm going to put the handle and the latch on outside just so I can open and close the door. But obviously this door is green. I'm going to have to paint it. I'm going to paint it. I'm just not going to paint it right now. So I want to be able to open and close it and get everything checked out. And then when it's time, all it is those 2 Phillips heads and that clip. And I can take this all right back off again to get in there and paint right. So let's get some parts. Let's start to put things back together. This is the one off the other door, the door that we'll call the good door. And you know what? I'm glad we did it too, because these things here are the catches that hold the bars, that the actual actuator bars. Those are missing from the other latch, and we need those real bad. You can't really do this without them. So we are going to reinstall this by simply putting all the pieces in their requisite little holes, get everything in, and then we're just going to put a couple of screws on it just to hold it. Again, nothing crazy going on here. Where's my Phillips head? Bring you guys back a little bit so it's not quite as oppressive watching this go down. Yeah, we're just going to put a couple screws in just to hold things where we think they're going to go. And again, I was not able to, I don't believe this is adjustable at all. This just bolts off. So we don't have to worry about adjustments or any of that stuff for this. It just goes in, self-centers on these screws. Oh, there comes my dog. And he's going to try to get in this bus. But we're not going to let him because he's going to have muddy feet. All right. So we're just going to get this on good enough. Nice try. Say hi to all the people. He loves getting in the bus and hanging out in there. Nah, you can't do it. You just can't do it. I'm using the bus today. Sorry. So yeah, let me pause you and prevent him from muddying up the bus. All right, had to go to some crazy lengths there. Actually, he's going to come running away. One moment. Okay. That door has one final purpose to serve, and it's to block the dog. So we got this screwed in. You know, again, tight enough for now. Not going to go hog wild on any of these. Just want it in there enough that we can get the latch working. I'm going to throw in the outer stuff because I want to be able to hook those things up. And that's just all of these things here. Don't forget the horrible little clippy, which we all love. I see you over there. Nice try. So we'll put these parts here. We'll put Clippy and his friends here. Let's actually get, I think we'll put the lower handle piece in first, just so that we can, that goes on this side. And again, this is all going to have to come back out at some point in the not too distant future because I'm going to want to paint the door. It's interesting. Seems like it's keyed. But based on what I can tell, it should be fine going in like this. This is sort of the way that that piece goes. There we go. It's weird. It fought me. It fought me good. But now we're going to reinstall this clip just to hold that. You guys saw that happen before. We'll put the handle on. Again, just enough. You know, we're not trying to get this thing ready for going down the highway. We are trying to get it ready for opening and closing so we can get everything tested and checked out. And this is super boring, and we'll probably end up edited out because, you know, I'm just screwing stuff in. Just in case something cool happens, we'll keep the film running. But I'm not expecting anything cool to happen based on this. Nicer. All right, so outside of the door, all good. I'm going to throw a little bit of W-Dome on that. A little on the outside too. There we go. Way better. Okay, so now I want to hook the, get you back in here. Now I want to hook this. Oh, I put that clip right in the way, didn't I? Okay, let's take this off for a minute. And we will put this on from the top down. And then we can put this here. And we can install the magic clip that we don't want to go flying away. Like that. So that should have the latch functional from the outside. it seems to work. So that's ready to go. All right. So we're not able to get it to latch completely. Yeah, it's not, something's holding it off. More than likely, that's going to be the striker adjustment that I was talking about. We'll have to adjust that a little bit because this door, yeah, I can feel it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's high, it's hitting. So it has to come down. But I think the door is in a good spot. So the door doesn't have to come down. We just have to adjust that striker, this guy, which will adjust up a little bit, and we should be good. But let's make it so that it opens and closes from both sides. I'm putting the tape on this one over here I put on because once I screw that in, I don't need to take that back off again. But I will have to remove this stuff to paint the door. So I am going to have to, I'm not going to put the tape covering that hole or these holes down here. It's just easier to paint the door better. And I want to get in there and try to weather treat this. Oh, by the way, I did figure out, I don't know, you guys were seeing before, I was pulling that weird horsehair stuff out of here. It's in 3 spots. It's over the drain holes. The drain holes for the door are here. You can see my finger in there. So that this stuff was actually acting like some kind of filter, I guess, against bugs maybe getting up in there. But yeah, it's unfortunately a giant moisture trap. So maybe that was a good idea when they came up with it, but it's not gonna, I'm not leaving that like that because that is not a long-term solution, at least in my opinion. So this guy here, I'm gonna install, I mean, you guys can see it. It's literally just this thing I took off the other door. It just kind of screws in with these spiky bolts that hold it. And they're spiky because they gotta punch through this material. Not this particular material, but when you put the good stuff on, which looked like some kind of fabric cloth based on what I removed from the other door. There's an alignment to this. That's always a possibility. So now we are going to put these door rods on, and I found the top one is the top one. So we're going to put them back in this track. And the top one here goes on back here. And these guys are adjustable. I don't know if you can see this, that turns. I don't have any plans to adjust it past what it has been. I'm not going to clip this down yet either because I don't want, those actually are hard to get off and I don't want to lock them in place since I know, as stated for the millionth time, I am going to have to take this door off again. Or at least the this stuff has to come off again. So we're just going to like lightly put those on so that we don't lose them. And now inside here, we have access to that, and then the lock. I don't know about the lock, guys. I think it might have to be closed. You probably can't lock it from the outside without the latch being closed because they don't want you to lock your keys in your car. But that should have, yeah, aside from that striker, that's the door. So let's get this striker adjusted because I just feel like it's going to look cooler if we get that done. Sorry, dog. No can do. I don't know if you guys can see good on that view. This has clearly been gotten at before. Actually, this screwdriver, the hinges screwdriver is too big. And this guy is too small, and we do not want to strip these. So I'm going to go get a different screwdriver. I'll be right back. Okay. So same idea, different screwdriver. Again, purpose built for this to use with the vice grips. I've got really nice snap-on screwdrivers and stuff that I use for the delicate work. Uh-oh. This screwdriver is specifically for this. And isn't as good as the other one, unfortunately. It's seen some things, but I'm a little nervous here. This one's not. This one's fighting me. Okay. So it looks like we're going to try out the hammer bit anyway. So most folks have seen these before. It is just a manual impact driver. That's all it is. You put the bit on, you whack it, and it hopefully turns out whatever it is you're trying to turn out. So I've used this lots of different times on lots of different cars. And I don't love going right to it because it can strip the bolts too, but Unfortunately, that's not coming yet. So what I think we're going to do is take out these, and that's going to allow this maybe to pivot. If I can get it to pivot forward this way, it'll actually crank that screw back just a little bit, and maybe that'll be enough to break it free. It's just someone else has been in here, and that screw has already seen better days. I really don't want to strip it out and end up having to drill it, and that'll just be terrible. And actually, this plate's already moving. If this plate's not connected to the top, then what is this in? How is that? Have its own plate up there? That's weird. Can't say that I expected that, folks. But let's just see if we can bring this forward now. Yeah, see, like that. So that's moved this bolt. Has it moved it enough to loosen it? I don't know. But it has moved it. It was enough. There you go. So, any way you can. Any way that it works. Wow, so that was separately adjustable? This seems like it's going to be a real party, everybody. Yeah, that's its own. Okay, well that stinks. Now, the reason I took this all the way off, instead of just moving it around a little bit, is because I wanted to look back here and make sure it wasn't rotted out. I've seen cars where this is not, I mean, there's a lot of water that gets down in here. I've seen these where they're completely rotted out in the back, where they're super rusty and it's starting to get thin. And when that happens, you'll actually start to wiggle the striker plate, opening and closing the door, and it'll break. I didn't think it would be the case with this one because this car's been so rust-free. But this would have been an opportunity if I needed to put something on there to stop it from rusting further. So it's good. It's loose. We can put it back together. And then I have a paint line, so I that helps a lot. Like I know exactly where this was. And it was adjusted way too far down if I'm gambling. It's down actually as far as it'll go down, which isn't really typically what you want to see. Should be somewhere in its adjustment range in theory. So we are going to move it up. The other thing is it seems to be all the way back in its adjustment range as well, which could explain why we can't get the door to pinch into it. Now the other door was bent up so badly that who knows what somebody had to do to make that even remotely functional. So I expect this to be a little bit weird, but yeah, we're gonna. That was all the way back before and it was all the way down. We're going to pick it up a little and we're going to bring it forward just a hair like that. And then we got to lock these down, not crazy, and give it a shot. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going crazy. I don't want it to pop off on us. Nope. Now we're hitting at the bottom. We've gone too far, everyone. But we close good. But you can see how high up we are. That's because the striker is actually picking the door up. So we need to drop it. I went too far because that's the name of this game, is the trial and error, fun and excitement of striker plate adjustments. So we are going, I did like the distance in. So I think we're good there. Ooh, that's going to be down too much. So we are going to just pop it right there. We're going to put it about there. Again, we're forward of the old position because I think that we were too far back before. Let's see what we got. No hitting. Gold. It could stand to go in. Hey, maybe not gold. Okay, there we go. I was going to say it could stand to go in, but it wasn't latched. I think I'm going to call that good. There may be some adjustments to be done, but we're actually lined up with the old fender here, which may be in too far. We have good gaps all the way around. Our gap across the bottom feels really even. We're not touching anywhere, so I'm going to stop this video because we have what should be a functional door. Let me roll the window down just for the sweet satisfaction of getting the getting the, sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm looking for a tool, the internal handle to work. So let me grab that off the other door that I was using as my dog blocker, 9000. We're just going to grab this off of here. The dog has subsequently exited, so you'll be happy to know that he is now off doing his own thing somewhere else, and I'm happy about it. He loves getting in here because he loves laying on the bus, which I don't normally mind. I mean, it's a bus, right? Like, he just lays in there on the bed, but because it's pouring rain out, he's got muddy feet. And I also lay on that bed when I go camping in this thing and that thing, so don't want him on it. So let's put the handle on. Weird design. It's like a hexagonal, almost like a giant nut or bolt head, and it locks in. This is all plastic, so kudos again to the folks at Austin who developed a plastic made in 1969 that has held up this long and this well, because this still works fine. Just putting that a little bit loose still. There we go. Oh, you know what else we didn't put in, folks, is our friend the check rod. We got the old door check rod to put in. So let's get the window down. All right, window goes down, nice. Let's close it up. And something else we'll check. Can we lock it now? Oh, we can lock it. Lock. Ah. We have an operational lock and the opener. Okay, so that all works. That part of the door is done. I'll put the check strap in, which again, didn't exactly check strap for the last guy, but that's just that pin. I'm not going to make you guys watch that. So that's it for this video on the door. The door is hung. Next video is going to be the fender. I'll pull the fender off. We'll see just how bad it is. I don't know what that project's going to entail. But we'll pull the fender off. We will make sure that we're good on alignments, put it back together, and then we're going to mask it up and paint it. I may end up painting the fender off the car. Might be easier to do that. Not sure yet, but we'll see. So anyway, thanks for watching. Door install, replacement. As always, like and subscribe, trying to build the channel. Want to do more of these videos for you guys, and the more folks that are watching, the more fun it is. So thanks again, and I'll see you soon.